A billionaire in a hoodie, cuffed by a cop who saw homeless instead of truth. He said who he was didn't matter. Racial bias locked the cuffs, but the courtroom unlocked justice. Body cam footage exposed it all, stripping a badge and sparking a movement. This is one man's fight turned revolution grit, proof, and a call for change. Watch how it unfolds. The evening air in Charlotte, North Carolina, hung thick with humidity, the kind that clung to skin and blurred the edges of the skyline. Neon signs flickered over Tryon Street, casting jagged light on a man leaning against a brick wall, scrolling his phone. He was tall, mid-40s, his navy hoodie frayed at the cuffs, a day's stubble shadowing his jaw. A silver Rolex peeked from his sleeve, unnoticed by most, but not by the patrol car creeping past. To the officer inside, he looked like trouble, not a titan. Malcolm Reese tapped out a text, his thumb steady, despite the long day meetings in Raleigh, a delayed flight, a rental car still parked 2 blocks away. He ditched the suit for comfort, the billionaire CEO of Reese Tech blending into the dusk. The squad car stopped, its door swinging open. Officer Daniel Holt stepped out, 32, broad-shouldered, his pale eyes narrowing. "Hey you," he barked, hand resting on his holster. "What are you doing here?" Malcolm glanced up, calm as steel. "Waiting for a ride. Problem?" His voice was deep, measured, the kind that closed deals worth millions. Holt smirked, stepping closer. "Yeah, loitering's a problem. You got ID?" Malcolm slid his phone into his pocket, pulling a sleek wallet. "Malcolm Reese. I run a company downtown." He offered a business card, gold embossed, crisp. Holt snatched it, barely glancing before tossing it to the pavement. "Sure, and I'm the governor. Hands behind your back now." Malcolm's brow lifted, but he didn't flinch. "You're making a mistake. I'm not homeless. I own half this block." Holt laughed, sharp and cold. "Good story. Turn around." A bystander across the street, a kid in a Tar Heels cap, yanked out his phone, filming. Malcolm raised his voice, steady. "Check my ID. Call my lawyer. This doesn't have to go sideways." Holt grabbed his arm, twisting it back, cuffs snapping shut. "Keep talking, pal. You're done here." The kid's camera caught it all. Malcolm's calm defiance, Holt's snarl, the card fluttering in the gutter. The squad car peeled off, Charlotte's lights smearing past as Malcolm sat cuffed in the back. Holt radioed in, smug. "Got a vagrant mouthing off. Booking him." Malcolm stared out, silent, his mind already 3 steps ahead. This wasn't over. It was just starting. The squad car jolted to a stop outside the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. A squat brick building humming with fluorescent light and late-shift chatter. Officer Daniel Holt hauled Malcolm Reese out, cuffs biting into the billionaire's wrists, his hoodie now rumpled but his gaze steady. The night air buzzed with distant traffic, a stark contrast to the precinct's sterile glare. Holt shoved him toward the door, smirking. "Welcome to reality, buddy." Inside, the booking room smelled of burnt coffee and disinfectant. A desk sergeant, graying, bored, glanced up as Holt pushed Malcolm forward. "Caught this one loitering on Tryon," Holt said, tossing Malcolm's wallet onto the counter. "Says he's some big shot. Book him disorderly, resisting, whatever sticks." The sergeant flipped open the wallet, squinting at the driver's license, then paused. "Reese. Malcolm Reese. That name's familiar." Malcolm stood tall, voice even. "It should be. I'm CEO of Reese Tech. Check my record, nothing. Let me call my lawyer." Holt snorted, leaning on the counter. "Yeah, and I'm Elon Musk. Process him, Sarge." The sergeant hesitated, thumbing the ID, but Holt's glare pushed him to type. John Doe blinked onto the screen, Malcolm's identity erased with a keystroke. A holding cell clanged shut behind him, the steel cold against his back. Malcolm sat, cuffs off now, watching cops shuffle past, some joking, others ignoring him. He memorized Holt's badge number, 4721. His mind ticking like a clock. The kid's video was out there. He'd seen the phone. Time was his weapon now. 40 minutes later, the precinct's front doors burst open. A man in a tailored gray suit stormed in. Elliot Vance, Malcolm's lawyer, 6 feet of sharp edges and sharper words. His briefcase hit the desk with a thud. "Where's Malcolm Reese? You've got my client, a billionaire, in a cell. Release him, now." The sergeant blinked. Holt froze mid-sip of coffee, and a ripple of silence spread. "Who the hell are you?" Holt snapped, stepping forward. Vance didn't flinch. "Elliot Vance, counsel for Reestech. You arrested a man worth 9 figures because, what? He didn't look rich enough? I want the chief, the footage, and him out. Move." The sergeant stammered. He's in holding." Vance cut him off. "Now." Holt's jaw tightened, but a flicker of doubt crossed his eyes. The chief, a burly man with a buzz cut, emerged from an office, frowning. "What's this mess?" Vance laid it out, voice like a blade. "Your officer racially profiled my client, ignored his ID, cuffed him. It's on video street and body cam. Fix this, or it's federal." The chief glanced at Holt, then Malcolm's wallet, realization dawning. "Get him out," he barked. Malcolm stepped free, rubbing his wrists, meeting Holt's glare with a look that promised more. Outside, a news van screeched upward was spreading. The precinct buzzed, Holt's smirk gone, replaced by sweat. The Charlotte night pulsed with energy as Malcolm Reese stepped onto the precinct steps, Elliot Vance at his side. A news van's spotlight flared, pinning him in its glare, while a reporter, a young woman with a mic, shoved forward. "Mr. Reese, is it true you were arrested tonight? What happened?" Malcolm paused, the weight of the cuffs still ghosting his wrists. "I was profiled," he said, voice low but firm. "Told them who I was. Didn't matter. They saw what they wanted to see." The camera caught every word, and the crowd, bystanders, protesters swelled, phones up, live streaming. Inside, Officer Daniel Holt watched from a window, coffee cold in his hand. The chief's voice still echoed. "You screwed us, Holt." And now the kid's video was everywhere, racking up 50,000 views on X in an hour. Reese arrested trended, clips looping. Malcolm's calm, "I'm a CEO." Holt's scoff, the cuffs. Comments poured in. "Racist cop." "Sue him." And Holt's gut twisted. He muttered to a buddy, "They're blowing it up. I was doing my job." The buddy shrugged, uneasy. "Job's on tape, man." By morning, the story was wildfire. The Charlotte Observer splashed it across the front page. "Billionaire CEO cuffed in racial profiling blunder." CNN picked it up, airing the footage with a pundit's gasp. "This is textbook bias." Protesters hit Tryon street signs reading, "Justice for Reese," "End profiling now," their chants bouncing off glass towers. Malcolm's phone buzzed non-stop board members, activists, a senator's aide. He silenced it, meeting Vance at a sleek office downtown. "We've got him," Vance said, spreading files, body cam stills, witness statements, Holt's spotty record. "False arrest, civil rights violation. Chiefs offering a settlement, quiet it down. I say we go to court, make it loud." Malcolm nodded, eyes hard. "Court. He doesn't walk away from this." Vance grinned. "Trials set 2 weeks. Footage'll bury him." The precinct scrambled. The chief issued a statement. "We're investigating, retraining." But it rang hollow. Holt got a lawyer, a nervous guy in a cheap suit, while whispers spread. 2 prior complaints hushed up. X lit up with leaks, cops distancing themselves. A union rep dodging calls. Malcolm's arrest wasn't just news. It was a fuse. 2 weeks later, the Mecklenburg County Courthouse loomed, a gray monolith packed to the rafters. Reporters jostled, cameras rolling as Malcolm entered, suit sharp, face unreadable. Holt slouched in, badge gone, suspended pending trial, his lawyer whispering fast. The gallery buzzed, activists, suits, locals who'd seen the clip 100 times. The judge, a black woman with silver hair, banged her gavel. "Order, State v. Hold assault, false arrest. Let's begin." The prosecutor stood, voice crisp. "We'll show Officer Holt ignored identity, used force, broke the law, all on tape. The room leaned in, ready for the unraveling. The Mecklenburg County Courthouse thrummed with tension, its high ceilings swallowing the murmurs of a packed gallery, reporters scribbling, activists clutching signs, suits whispering odds. Malcolm Reese sat at the plaintiff's table, his navy suit crisp, eyes locked forward, a quiet force amid the storm. Across the room, Daniel Holt slumped beside his lawyer, badge stripped, his uniform traded for a rumpled blazer. Sweat beaded on his neck as the Judge Lorraine Carter, stern and silver-haired, rapped her gavel. Prosecution, proceed. The prosecutor, a lean man named Paul Grayson, stood, voice cutting through the hush. Your Honor, we'll prove Officer Holt assaulted and falsely arrested our witness, acting on racial bias, not evidence. Exhibit A, body-worn camera footage. A screen flickered to life, and the room held its breath. The video rolled. Tryon Street at dusk, Malcolm against the wall, phone in hand. Holt spark. What are you doing here? Then Malcolm's calm. I'm Malcolm Reese, CEO. Here's my ID. The card flashed, gold on black, before Holt tossed it, sneering. Sure you are. Cuffs snapped on. Malcolm's voice steady. You're wrong, met with Holt's shove. The clip ended. 30 seconds of damning clarity. Holt shifted, eyes darting to his lawyer, who scribbled fast. Grayson paused the tape, turning to the judge. He ignored identity, used force, no threat, no crime, just prejudice. The gallery rustled gasps, a stifled yes. Judge Carter's gaze pinned Holt. Defense? Holt's lawyer, a jittery man named Tompkins, stood. Your Honor, my client perceived a threat, loitering, non-compliance, heat of the moment. His voice wobbled, and Holt muttered, I didn't know, loud enough to draw a glare from Carter. You'll get your turn, she snapped. Malcolm took the stand, sworn in, his presence filling the room. I told him who I was, he said, voice like iron. Showed proof. He laughed, cuffed me. Saw a black man, not a person. Grayson asked, Did you resist? Malcolm shook his head. No. I complied. Still got slammed. The gallery leaned in, a woman whispering, That's right. Holt testified next, fidgeting. I thought he was lying homeless. Maybe high. Didn't look like a CEO. Carter's eyes narrowed. You tossed his ID. Why? Holt stammered. Instinct, ma'am. Grayson pounced. Instinct to profile? 2 prior complaints say yes. Objection overruled. The complaints shaky, but real hit the record. The footage played again, louder now. Holt's scoff echoing. The jury, 6 men, 6 women, mixed races, watched, stone-faced. Closing arguments came fast. Grayson. This isn't error, it's bias, caught on tape. Tompkins. A split-second call, not a crime. The jury filed out, and the room waited, air thick. 2 hours later, they returned. Guilty assault, false arrest. Carter's gavel cracked. Daniel Holt, badge revoked. 6 months jail, no parole. Holt sagged, cuffed again, led out as cameras flashed. Malcolm exhaled, a weight lifting, but his jaw stayed set. Outside, he faced the press. This isn't my win, it's a start. We fix this together. The crowd roared, but his eyes held a question: how far would it go? The Mecklenburg County Courthouse exhaled as Daniel Holt was led out, cuffs glinting under the lights, his head bowed, a fallen cop reduced to a number. The gallery erupted, cheers clashing with boos, reporters shouting questions, phones buzzing with live updates. Malcolm Reese stood, shaking Paul Grayson's hand, then Elliot Vance's, his face a mask of calm over a storm of resolve. Judge Carter's gavel rested, her voice lingering. Justice served, court adjourned. But the air crackled, something bigger was stirring. Outside, Charlotte pulsed with heat and noise. Protesters clogged the steps, signs waving. No more Holts. Reese speaks truth, their chants bouncing off the courthouse's gray facade. News vans lined the street, CNN cutting live. Billionaire's win exposes police bias. Malcolm stepped into the fray, cameras swarming. "This isn't about me," he said, voice steady, cutting through the din. "It's about every black man stopped, judged, cuffed for nothing. We end this now together." The crowd roared, a tide turning. Inside, the precinct reeled. The chief's office door slammed shut, his apology, retraining, reviews, already stale on X. Holt's locker was cleared, his name a whisper among cops, distancing fast. "He's done," one muttered, tossing a coffee cup. "We're next if this sticks." A leaked memo hinted at audits, but the union stayed silent, spooked. Holt, in a cell now, stared at the wall. 6 months loomed, a bitter taste of his own medicine. The story snowballed. By night, #Reese Rising hit 1 million mentions, the bodycam clip looping on every screen. A Charlotte councilman pledged reform bodycam mandates, bias training crediting the Reese case. Activists rallied downtown, a teen in a hoodie shouting, "I'm next unless we fight." Malcolm watched from his office, glass walls reflecting the city's glow, his phone buzzing offers, threats, a quiet text from his sister, "You okay?" He answered none, sipping coffee, plotting his next move. Days later, a school named a scholarship after him, small, symbolic, a start. A bill floated in Raleigh, inspired by the trial. But whispers of pushback lingered, cops lobbying, old guards digging in. Malcolm spoke at a rally, voice clear. "Change isn't a gift, it's a demand." The crowd swelled, but a shadow flickered an X post from a burner account. "Reese won't last." A question hung. Was this a win or a warning? Weeks on, Charlotte shifted, tensions eased, then flared. Malcolm walked Tryon Street again, uncuffed, unbowed, eyes on the horizon. A kid stopped him, shy. "You changed stuff, man." Malcolm smiled, faint. "We did. Keep going." The kid nodded, vanishing into the dusk, leaving Malcolm in the city to wonder, how far, how fast, how fragile. Thank you all for watching this video. Please comment and let me know what you think about this story. Please like and subscribe to watch more great content on my channel.